Yes, God.
When everyone else around could only see the worst in me.
Well,
This is my favorite part of the song. He's mine, I'm his.
yes, God.
It doesn't matter what I did, 'cause he only sees me for who I am. I know we done did some stuff, but it's good to know.
Right.
He's mine, I'm his. It doesn't matter what I did. He only sees me for who I am. And I want you to know he saw the best in me.
Well,
When everyone else around could only see the worst in me. Man, that's my testimony.
yes, Lord.
Oh, last time he saw the best in me. When what? When what? When everyone else around, when everyone else around could only see the worst in me.
Well,
Yes, Lord.
yes, Lord.
Yes, Lord. Ruth chapter 1.
Well,
Ruth chapter 1.
well.
Amen. I mean, I feel like preaching this
I
morning.
know,
really
I
do.
know it's a
really
word.
do. I
Yes,
really do.
Lord.
Ruth chapter 1. Beginning with verse 1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name was Elimelech, his wife's name Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem, Judah, and they went to Moab and lived there. Verse 3. Now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. When she heard in Moab that the Lord had come to aid of his people by providing food for them, Naomi and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. Verse 7. With her 2 daughter-in-laws, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Verse 8. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughter-in-laws, go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show kindness to you as you have shown to your dead and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in home of another husband. Then she kissed them, and they wept aloud and said to her, we will go back with you to your people. Verse 11. But Naomi said, return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Verse 12. Return home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters, it is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has gone out against me. Okay, it's going to get good here. Verse 14. At this, they wept again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye,
Well,
but Ruth clung to her. Look, said Naomi, your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her God.
wow.
Go back with her. But Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go.
Well,
And where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it so ever severely, if anything but death separates you and me. When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. Verse 19. So the 2 women went out until they came to Bethlehem. When they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them, and the woman exclaimed, can this be Naomi? In verse 20, watch this. Naomi says, don't call me Naomi. She told them, call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. Wow. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me. So last verse. So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by Ruth the Moabites, her daughter-in-law, arriving in Bethlehem as the barley harvest was beginning. The Lord had a blessing to the readers, doers of his holy word. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor.
Neighbor.
Preacher's going to talk about.
The preacher's going to talk about.
Determined not to go back.
Not to go back. Well, Jesus.
Seated
Jesus.
in the presence
Well.
of the Lord.
Well, preaching here, sir.
Shift Church family and friends. Have you ever been in a season or a place of hell?
Well.
A season of trouble.
Well.
Great distress, and said to yourself, I don't ever want to go back to that place.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one. I know I've said this many of times, but oftentimes I've found myself back in the same place, in the same predicament, in the same shape. Because my determination does not match what my mouth is saying.
Well.
And it's because I'm no longer motivated to shift or experience God in a new place.
Well, Lord.
Our story catches us in a place where Ruth is ready for something different to take place in her life. Have you ever been in the place where it seemed like things just keep repeating themselves over and over and over again, and you're just praying to get out of it?
Yeah.
Ruth says, I can't stay. I cannot go back with my sister-in-law, Orpah, because I've experienced and I've had to deal with the death of my father-in-law. I've had to deal with the death of my husband, and I've had to deal with the death of my brother-in-law. And I don't want to see no more death. What more not do you want to see of?
Yeah, that's good.
The last season, I don't want to see that season again.
Amen.
The last place I was in, I don't want to see that place again. Broke, busted, and disgusted. I don't want to see that place again. I've made up in my mind at the age of 23, and I can say I'm determined not to go back to where I was, because there's something greater that I'm trying to get to, and I can't get to where I need to get to if I'm too busy trying to run back to what was comfortable.
Well.
Determined not
to go back.
I love the place I'm in now.
Yes, Lord.
With God.
Yes.
The place that I'm in now with God, it is a higher standard than where I once was. Anytime I see it coming, or feel it coming, or hear it coming, I overcome with prayer, with singing, with worship, and the word. I find something to combat with my past.
Well.
Ruth finds determination to combat with the death of her husband and the place of not even knowing God.
Jesus.
Because Ruth did not serve our God. Because she told Naomi, she said, your people will be my people and your God, my God. I've made up in my mind that this day I will serve the Lord. I will not serve the enemy, because there's a charge on my life.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff, Pastor.
So Ruth, she says, Naomi, I'm going with you. The thing that got me, Orpah. Ooh, Lord, help Orpah. Because Orpah, she was so foolish. She said, you know what? I'll go back to serving my little g gods. I'd rather be I'd rather be satisfied with the little g gods that can't do nothing for me and serve your God, because I've experienced death. But Ruth says, wait a minute. Because 10 years I've been with my mother-in-law, and God has provided for us.
Yes, Lord.
So I gotta have crazy enough faith to stay with Naomi. So God, watch this. God gave Ruth a connect.
Wow.
You don't need a lot of people. You just need one good connection.
Well.
Yeah. People are good to have, but everybody's not a connection.
Good connection. Yes, Lord.
Help me, Jesus. Because we're trying to hold on to people who don't mean us any good. We're trying to satisfy people who really in turn hate us.
Jesus.
Ruth says, this is a good connect. My mother-in-law, she serves a God that has moved for us the last 10 years, so I'm going to cling to her.
Yes, Lord.
So she says, I cling to Ruth. I cling to Naomi. Ruth was determined